The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Wait till you hear what Woody Johnson apparently said to Jordan Travis when Jordan Travis was still with the Jets. We also will talk about the latest with the Jets following their first trade deadline deal. Michael Carter is no longer a Jet. We'll break down the latest. Matt O'Leary will join us. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Breece Hall, he's going to throw the ball. It's caught. Who would have fouled them?
How much worse can it get for Aaron Glenn's Jets team? Can he salvage this season and give us something to be excited about? Every step of the journey, the Jake Asman Show will have you covered, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now. Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. It is the Jake Asman Show presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Reminder, few days left in the month of October. It's Halloween Eve. Join the Patreon if you want your name added to our countdown ticker, plus all the other perks that you get. Reminder, when you join the Patreon, that is the way to gain access to the Discord. And if you sign up for the year, you get 10 raffle tickets applied in our weekly raffle. I secured a signed Nick Mangold football to be the top prize in the Asmaniac raffle on Tuesday. Raffle number 47, prize 2, a signed Wayne Corbett football, and prize 3, a signed Justin Fields jersey. So keep that in mind when you gift or super chat throughout the week that you got a chance to officially win a signed Nick Mangold football. Let's say hello right now to our guy Matt O'Leary, who joins us in his weekly spot. Matt, the New York Jets, they have a win. They're in the news for a Michael Carter trade. And oh yeah, Woody Johnson apparently is still being Woody Johnson. A lot to discuss with you, my man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Love the updated intro with some nice moments in there after a Jets win. Things you just love to see, Jake.
I mean, we have a Jets win, and we have Aaron Glenn, who's so excited after the win that he's literally flying like a jet in the locker room. I mean, you can't make it up. It's crazy what's happening to this team.
It's unbelievable. I'm happy for Aaron Glenn, man. He was pumped. The locker room was pumped up. It was a nice moment for this team that's had a lot of tough ones so far.
No doubt, no doubt. We'll talk about the game for sure, but let's start with the most recent news for the Jets. Michael Carter traded from the Jets to the Eagles. Jets making their first trade deadline move. John Mechie, the wide receiver who once upon a time was a second-round pick in 2022 by Houston, he comes back in this deal, plus a late-round 7th for 6th pick swap. What was your initial reaction to the trade?
Yeah, I think it's a good move for both sides, honestly. And, you know, Michael Carter was a really good Jet. Unfortunately for him, I think the injuries really started to take a toll over the last couple of years. Was banged up a lot last year. Hasn't looked like the same guy this year. And they seem to find their replacement, Jarvis Brownlee, in a trade a couple weeks ago. And he's looked really good for the Jets. So the writing was on the wall for me. I figured Michael Carter would be dealt at some point. And for the Jets, you do the pick swap, right? You improve your draft stock from a 7th to a 6th, but then you also get a flyer on a young wide receiver who hasn't done a ton in the NFL, both injuries and, you know, having leukemia, a big reason for that. And if he turns into something great, that's a win. If not, well, his rookie deal is expiring after this year, so it's not like you have any long-term impact there. So they're weak at that position. They were strong at cornerback. I think it's a move that makes sense for both sides here.
Do you expect any other big move from now until the deadline, which is coming up quickly now, 5 days to go? Deadline is Tuesday for the New York Jets. So the next time the Jets play, the deadline, of course, will have passed.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get like a full fire sale where they trade like 4 or 5 guys, but maybe 1 or 2 more. I think, To me, I think Quincy Williams, the writing's on the wall there with that one. They made their decision to pay Jamie Sherwood this past offseason, and he was back healthy this week, Quincy. I keep going back to either Atlanta or San Francisco. Seem like a great fit for Quincy Williams to link back up with either Robert Saleh or Jeff Ulbrich. I think that one's a move that's pretty likely. Beyond that, I'm like 50-50 on Breece Hall. If you asked me 2 weeks ago what I thought, I would have thought he would definitely be gone, but I don't know. I'm less inclined to think that they trade Breece Hall now just a couple weeks later.
I think ultimately when you look at like the move they made yesterday, like that to me makes sense. You have Brownlee who's going to replace him. You knew they were never going to keep Michael Carter around when his cap charge for next year was going to be $12.25 million. So you clear that money from the books. You only, there was just no way he was going to be here. But everyone else, like Breece, I'm with you. Quincy, well, it probably makes sense to trade him. What are they really going to be able to get for him? And you wonder if this team's trying to win and Glenn's trying to, instill his culture and all that. Do you almost just keep Quincy because you're right? They paid Sherwood, but he hasn't been good. And do you almost just want to keep Quincy around because you think he could help you win games, even if you risk losing him for nothing? Like if I can only get like a 6th round pick for Quincy Williams, it wouldn't shock me if the Jets just say, that's not worth it to us. We'd rather just keep him because we're trying to build a winning culture and he helps us win games.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fair. It would likely be a day 3 pick for Quincy Williams. I don't think you're getting a ton for him. And I could see that perspective from the Jets, honestly. Like this is a young staff that is trying to prove that they are the answer here. And if they are trying to win games, Quincy Williams definitely helps you do that rather than trading him off for a 5th round pick or whatever you're going to get for him in return. So I totally see that angle. Wouldn't surprise me if they went that route. I just don't think we're going to see any of the big ones like Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, those kind of bigger names that have been tossed around. That would really surprise me. But you're right. Like it could be just, another move around the margins, like an Allen Lazard or something.
Yep. I mean, a bag of used footballs for Allen Lazard. You making that move?
I would take just about anything for Allen.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe a guy like Tony Adams could be dealt too, but with Cisco now likely being done for the year, you almost got to keep him. So I think Quincy's the last, like, quote unquote, major name or notable name that could be moved. Because at this point, I would be surprised personally if they traded Breece. I want to keep Breece, so I don't know where you stand in that regard, but what are your thoughts on his future long term?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to keeping Breece Hall. I think, all likelihood here, you're drafting a quarterback pretty early in 2026. And if you could have a strong running back with a young quarterback, I think that goes a long way to helping him out, right? Like you feel pretty good about the offensive line. You feel pretty good about the wide receiver 1 and Garrett Wilson. If they add 2 more receivers and you retain Breece Hall, that's a really good situation for a young quarterback to go into. And I'm all about trying to make life as easy as possible for a rookie quarterback because the Jets have done the opposite for way too long. So, yeah, I'm totally with you. And you just freed up $10 million on next year's salary cap by trading off Michael Carter. Maybe you use a little bit of that money towards a Breece Hall extension.
Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Matt O'Leary is our guest in his weekly spot. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Matt's channel at Matt O'Leary NY. Some other news to get into here before we get to the comments that Woody Johnson allegedly made to former Jets quarterback Jordan Travis. The Jets yesterday, they worked out 2 quarterbacks among some other players, Desmond Ridder and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Do you think this has something to do with Tyrod Taylor's health that the Jets are choosing to bring in 2 veteran quarterbacks for workouts?
Yeah, that's what this tells me is that the injury is maybe worse than we thought with Tyrod Taylor. And of the 2, I think Desmond Ridder makes more sense. He's started more games. He's not that he's a great quarterback. I don't feel good about him starting a full season for you, but if he had to come in a pinch for a game or 2, I'd much rather that than Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who has 1 touchdown to 10 picks in his NFL career. I get it. He has the upside with his athleticism, but Ridder, I think, has a higher floor, which for a backup quarterback, I'd almost rather go with the higher floor than the high ceiling.
Comments, questions, super chats. Bunch of you have gifted memberships. For those who missed the announcement at the start of the show, we secured our top prize. I was bidding on all sorts of Nick Mangold related items. I locked in a signed Nick Mangold football from Coast to Coast Collectibles there. It includes the certificate of authentication, plus a signed Wayne Corbett football and a signed Justin Fields jersey. Some membership shout-outs before we get to these Jordan Travis comments, which you just got to laugh at, which we will do momentarily. Black Gypsy, the first to get in the raffle today. He's in for one. Thank you, Mr. Gypsy. The legend of Bobby Midnight spending big bucks. He just gifted a 5-spot of channel memberships. Wow.
First win!
Jets win a game, and Bobby Midnight is spending big bucks. Matt L., who won a signed Walt Clyde Frazier jersey, just supported the channel by sending in 5 memberships.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
And last but certainly not least, Bo C., one of the greats. He just gave this crew 5 gifted memberships. Bo knows.
Bo knows football. Bo knows baseball. Bo knows tennis. Bo knows basketball, too.
Bo knows channel memberships.
We are going to give away a Nick Mangold jersey at the end of today's stream. So if you want a chance to win that and enter the weekly raffle, you guys know the drill by now. All right, let's get to these comments. So this was on Jordan Travis's podcast. For those who forgot who Jordan Travis is, he is the former Jet quarterback that they took a few years ago, had to retire before the season because of that injury that he suffered at Florida State. So Jordan Travis was only with the Jets for a very limited amount of time. However, he still had quite the interactions, apparently, with the team owner, Woody Johnson. This is the clip that's been making the rounds. We'll play it and then react.
Johnson did, with Justin Fields, be better, bro. Speaking about your players publicly like that, you want to talk about losing a locker room? No head coach can fix that.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, that guy, no disrespect, but there was things that were said to me, not obviously to that point because I never got on the field to play, but about my leg, just slick comments that I don't know if he was trying to be slick about it, or you know how some older people, they just kind of say whatever comes to their mind. And it kind of made me feel a certain type of way. I told you about a few of them. Are you ever going to get healthy? And I'm just like, damn, not how you feel, and never that. There was always comments like that, and that kind of upset me, but kind of rolled over my head. It makes sense, but I mean, kudos to Justin Fields, because I don't know if you saw his press conference, and you can see on his face he's not even distraught, bro. It's really cool. It inspired me. I freaking reposted it on my Instagram. Now it's his chance. He's getting attention. God still has his hand on him the whole time. And
amen.
Wow, Matt, your initial reaction to those comments there from Jordan Travis?
Unfortunately, not surprising in the least. It's really sad that you hear comments like that and go, yeah, that tracks. I'm not surprised Woody Johnson said that. But, I mean, not for nothing, but you had to know what you were getting when you took the guy in the draft a couple of years ago. He had a gruesome injury in November. Clearly, it was going to take a little bit of time. And just a lack of seemingly compassion from Woody Johnson. I get it. They spent a draft pick on him, and they want to see him on the field. But at the same time, the guy's clearly hurt. I'm sure he wants to be out there and play. He doesn't want to go through this long, grueling rehab process, and it just comes off horribly. And like I said, unfortunately, not surprising at all.
I mean, it's just another bad look. And anyone who's saying, "Oh, there's no way that happened," really, after what you just heard Woody Johnson say about the current starting quarterback for the team, Justin Fields, I totally believe that this happened. And remember, Woody's the same guy in that Athletic story that came out that detailed just the Jets' mess over the last couple of years. When there was a story in that report that Woody Johnson told Mike White he effing sucked after he played with broken ribs in that game against the Seahawks, where the Jets lost and were officially eliminated during that 2022 season. So you had that combined with what he literally just said last week about Fields, and now these comments from Jordan Travis. It's just another example of why, if you're a Jet fan who wants to believe things could turn around, it's why you always got to think, man, are we ever actually going to be able to do it as long as this guy owns the team?
Yeah, another good examples that you pulled right there. Another one that I would toss on would be during the Hard Knocks year in, what was that, 2023, I guess, after they paid Quinnen Williams, and he's like, oh, that's a lot of money for Quinnen Williams. That's his first comment on air publicly about it. It's like, dude, do you not get it? It's just so bizarre and so confusing that an owner can think this way.
It's just another example of why Woody Johnson is completely tone deaf. And it's a major problem because Christopher Johnson is not like that. Look, the Jets don't give a damn what any of us say, clearly, but someone needs to get the message to Woody that he needs to stop opening his mouth, that he needs to take a step back. His brother should be the front face for the organization. When Christopher Johnson was running the Jets when Woody was in London, obviously, Christopher Johnson didn't win either, and he was the one who, oversaw the Gase hire, but he's a well-spoken guy that gets positive feedback from really anyone. You go back and listen to old comments from Aaron Rodgers about Chris Johnson, Josh McCown, what he has said about Chris Johnson. It's just Woody at age 78. I wonder if he's just reached a point where he's just not all there. Like he just says things and doesn't realize like the magnitude of his words. Like what he said about Fields, we understand what he was trying to do, trying to support his coach, but the clunky, awkward way he goes about it, it's hurting the team. It hurts the Jets' perception. It kind of feeds into the perception that they're the worst run team in sports and they're a clown show. And like comments like this that go viral, it doesn't help. Like it just continues to make the Jets look worse and worse.
It does make the Jets look worse and worse. And you're right. Like at least with Christopher Johnson, for those 4 or 5 years that he ran the show, they also weren't a very good football team, but you didn't have as many of these stories because he wasn't spoken in that way. The worst thing he ever said was that Adam Gase is coaching where football is going. Paraphrasing, but that's essentially what it was. And that was clearly a mistake to hire Adam Gase, but he certainly wasn't throwing anybody under the bus. And it seemed like Aaron Rodgers had a significantly better relationship with Christopher Johnson than he did Woody. And that doesn't surprise me at all based on both of their personalities and what we've seen and heard them say.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise, I think, anyone. And, I remember this story. I don't know if it's public or not. Dante's referencing it here. Chris, when the Jets played the Falcons in London in 2021, I had multiple people tell me that when he was interacting with fans, he apologized for them hiring Gase and just how bad the team had been. At least he owned that mistake, right? Like it just feels like Chris is the guy that should be way more day-to-day around the team because like even in the locker room with Aaron Glenn, Woody wasn't at the game Sunday. I don't know if that was previously planned or he wasn't at the game because it would have been awkward after what he said about Justin Fields for him to show his face in the locker room. But Christopher Johnson was the one there representing the ownership group. He was the one that gave the game ball to Aaron Glenn. You could see it in the photos. He was the one that was there. The Jets need to do a better job of just finding a way to keep Woody away. Let him go handle the soccer team that he bought across the pond and stay there. And let Chris be the guy that if there's a owner's meeting and he's got to speak, let him be the one to do it because he actually sounds like an owner. Whereas Woody, when he last spoke, he sounded like a drunk fan you'd see in L5 tailgating, like blaming the quarterback for why the Jets stink.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the best part of that whole interaction at the owners meeting was it started with Woody Johnson saying, I don't have anything to say, and then went on a 10-minute rant talking about the quarterback. Like you said, like you're hanging out in the parking lot with Tailgate Joe or whoever and, interacting with a fan. That's just, I get it. And he's right in the sense that Justin Fields hasn't been good enough, but you're the owner of the team. You can't be saying it like that.
It's just brutal. I mean, Woody Johnson bought the Jets in 2000. Their record since 2011, 82 and 153. It's been brutal, man. Because really the first 10 years, Woody kind of lucked into it with the roster being in a good spot. And, the Parcells infrastructure was still there for Algro to Herm. And then, Tannenbaum was a Parcells disciple. You get Mangini in who did a great job with the personnel side of things. And Rex was truly the only great hire that you could give credit for, Woody Johnson overseeing. But it's just, man, that's the problem with this team. As much as we want to hope Aaron Glenn could turn things around and change things, the problem is the owner is always going to be the owner. And you just never know when Woody's going to be Woody and say comments like what he said about Fields and, the impact that those words have on the team going forward.
Yeah, 100%. And then, it eventually gets to a point where he starts to meddle. And I know he's not going to do that now. It usually takes a few years before, things don't improve. And then he gets his hands on the team with some of the roster decisions. And it's just not a good spot for an owner to be. I think the best owners in sports are the ones who are willing to pay whatever it takes to be competitive and hire football people, hire baseball people, whoever it is or whatever sport it is, to let them run the show and stay out of the way.
There's a reason why the players voted to give Woody an F in the ownership grade, which was the worst in football a year ago. Everything that went down with the coach being fired in season, the alleged food truck story where Woody pulled the plug on Food Truck Fridays for the Jets after practice, and Aaron Rodgers, out of his own pocket, went behind the owner and paid for it for the team the rest of the way. You have these comments from Jordan Travis. You have the story, what he said about Mike White, and it's just like he doesn't have a clue. He just and because he's a billionaire and he has too many yes men that surround him, no one's there to actually say, Woody, take a step back and realize what you're doing, that these words have consequences and hurt our team's chances of winning.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And it just seems like the lack of self-awareness is such a big problem. Another comment he had in the Diana Rossini story from this past week was him talking about how he thinks he's relatable to these players. That couldn't be any further from the truth. He might be the least relatable owner in the NFL.
It's mind-boggling, man. Dante, super chat in the raffle for 2. This owner, man, can he be human? That sucks. It's just I met Woody Johnson one time and had like a 3 to 4 minute conversation with him at Joe Klecko and Revis's Hall of Fame induction. And I think Woody is truly a nice guy. Like, I don't think he's a bad, mean-spirited person. I think he's just very socially awkward. And he's just unaware of like his words having the weight that they do. Like, I don't think he's a bad person. I just think he has too many people that have never actually set him straight. And this is the latest example of that.
Yeah, it's a good point, right? Like when he's in the position that he is for as long as he has been, you brought up the point of like too many yes men around. I think there's no one there to check him, right?
Well, the team president's been there for 20 years, and the Jets are going out of their way now with this lawsuit to do everything possible to protect him. And, it could be a totally separate thing. I don't know, but it's like the same people that have been there for years and the team doesn't win. So if it starts at the top, let's look at the top of the organization, the people that have been there through all these different coaches, GMs, quarterbacks, and it still doesn't work.
Yeah, it's Woody, it's Jaime, it's the same guys at the top every single year. You're right. It's a hard spot to be in as a fan, because you want to believe that things can turn around and that they can improve, but you always have that shadow hanging over you of what is Woody going to do to get involved and ruin this.
I want to now play you another example of, the Jets being completely tone deaf, and this starting with Woody Johnson. The Jets increased their season ticket prices for people that still are loyal to the Jets who have not made the playoffs since 2010, 15 years ago. I thought this was a great rant on ESPN New York yesterday from friend of the show, Alan Hahn. This was Alan going off on Woody. I want to play it, and then we will react to the Jets raising the ticket prices.
A lot of tweets yesterday about something for Jets fans that I thought, you talk about tone deaf, nothing more tone deaf than this.
If it's true, it's not good.
So season ticket invoices for the Jets have been sent out for next season, for the big 2026 football season for the Jets of great anticipation. One person said, my prices increased 11% from this season to the next. How the hell are you raising your ticket prices, especially for your loyal season ticket holders? What, like, under what plan do you have that says this is a good idea to do as a franchise after we have given you nothing but losing for 15 years? But no, we got to raise the prices again. For what?
Always.
It's constantly tone deaf in this moment. In this economy, the Jets are going to say, we're charging you more to watch this garbage. Insane. And you know what? If you're a Jets fan, I know you're afraid of getting out of line and then the PSL. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't pay it. And your ticket broker who's going to be calling you me up your ass for weeks, begging you to re-up, you got to tell him no. Not doing it. Not doing it. I'm not paying a penny more for that trash football you're throwing on the field year after year and making me pay for it. No way. You shouldn't do it. They're going to beg you to come back anyway. Send a message. Say no.
Well said, I think, by Alan Hahn there, who is one of us. He is a Jet fan. Matt, your thoughts on the Jets increasing season ticket prices, despite the fact this team is 1-7 right now.
Yeah, and that comes out right after their first win. So impeccable timing as usual. I get it. The cost of things are going up everywhere, right? Like that's just how it is in 2025. But it's another example of just a tone deaf. They've been bad for so long. And I don't blame any fan that doesn't want to re-up. I think the Jets season ticket holders are put in such a bad spot. And I don't think the organization does enough for their season ticket holders. So I don't blame anyone who goes, you know what, like I just can't do this anymore. And that's a really crappy place to have your fans be at. But how can you blame anyone for coming to that conclusion after everything this team has put them through?
Yeah, you just can't do it to your fans. And when you think about it, the NFL makes so much money, and most of it is not from people going to games. It's from the national TV contracts. That is where the money is at for the NFL and their teams. So the fact that Woody didn't say to someone, hey, we're not going to increase after this, after they've increased the last couple of years, despite how big of a disaster the Aaron Rodgers era ended up being, it's just once again an ownership group that's just completely oblivious or just straight up just does not care. And I think it's terrible. And I'll continue to say this. I don't want to tell like Jet fans how to fan. Like if you're a season ticket holder and you want to keep going, like good for you. Awesome. But I would just say this. If you want to go to every game, you'll save money if you cancel your season tickets and you just buy tickets on the secondary market for all the games. Because unfortunately, the history of the Jets is right around this time, and in this case, even earlier than even by Jet standards, the secondary market has tickets that are way cheaper than what you're paying on a per game basis for season tickets. And you got to put the money up front, and you're committed to these games, and you got to pay full price for preseason games, which the Jets, I believe, have 2 home preseason games this year. So, like, if you want to go to all the games as a season ticket holder, just go on SeatGeek or StubHub or whatever secondary ticket market provider you want to use and buy your tickets there, because you don't get anything for being a season ticket holder. It's not like, you know, you're going to the playoffs every year and you have a home playoff game to get face value tickets for. That hasn't happened since 2002. It's not like you're getting great season ticket perks, like they're giving you all this free stuff or they're sending you an annual, you know, welcome to the new season package like all these other teams do. I just don't see the benefit of being a season ticket holder, and the audacity of this organization to increase prices coming off the last 14 years and now a 1-7 start, and you're going to increase again. Just asinine.
No, it really is. There's no defending it. And, you know, it feels like, at least when they were in the old stadium, I don't know how the culture is as much in the new stadium, but you had the season tickets and like you knew everyone in your section, right? Like not that I had season tickets, but one of my close friends growing up, their family had season tickets, and I would go to a game, maybe 2 games a year with them, and they knew everybody. And then by like the end, when we stopped going at MetLife, that wasn't really the case. We didn't know the people sitting next to us. Like people were selling their tickets, and more year over year, the people who've been there for so long are giving up those season tickets. So you're right. I think you are better off just picking and choosing your spots. Hey, I want to go to, you know, I'm going to go to 6 games a year. I'm going to go on, insert my favorite secondary market, you know, app here, and just pick and choose the games that I'm going to go to. You're probably better off. But, you know, it stinks. Season tickets, I know a lot of fans who do want to go because they love tailgating and getting the time with the family and creating memories. And like, I don't blame any fan who wants to do that. I just think the organization puts the fan base and the season ticket holders specifically in such a crappy position year over year.
It's just, it's hard to believe. And this is where like a good owner would step in and say, hey, we're not going to increase this year. It's not worth it. You know, the money we'll lose is not enough where it will cost us anything in the long haul. And like, that would be a nice, like, goodwill gesture to your fan base. Like that to me is a major issue for the Jets. They don't do enough for their loyal fan base. Even if it's just anyone who is a season ticket holder, hey, we're going to allow you to upgrade your seats for the remaining home games. Hey, we're going to give you free food, free parking for the remainder of the games. Just something. It's like they do absolutely nothing for, honestly, the best fan base in sports, the most loyal, passionate fan base in sports. Look what one win has done for some people in this fan base. One win. And people are hopeful and talking about how they're going to turn it around. Like, we get nothing. And I especially feel for the season ticket holders, because I've said this. There's no fan base in all of sports that gets a worse ROI than the Jet fan. Return on investment has never been worse if you root for the New York Jets.
Yeah, it's spot on. And look, like we just spent in the last segment how many minutes ripping Woody Johnson. I think we'd be honest and say, hey, good on Woody, man. Like he stepped in and said, you know what, we're not going to raise the ticket prices. I think that would, do something for the narrative to start turning around for him. But we talked, about the lack of self-awareness or, him being a little tone deaf. I don't even know if that's something that's on the radar for him in this organization.
Here would be my thing too for Woody Johnson, right? For a while, James Dolan was considered the worst owner in not just New York, but professional sports. And say whatever you want about James Dolan. But if you're a Knick or a Ranger fan, you know this is true. If they did not make the playoffs the previous season, your season ticket prices would never increase. They have only increased when either the Knicks or the Rangers are coming off a season where they made the playoffs. So you could say whatever you want about James Dolan. The one thing that he has done right, no matter how bad or good any of his teams have been since he's owned both of those teams, they have never increased season ticket prices if the Rangers or the Knicks are not coming off a playoff season. To me, that is a no-brainer for Woody Johnson, but he's just either too unaware, tone deaf, or just doesn't care to actually do it.
Yeah, and that's a great call out too, right? Like I think that's a good precedent to set. Like if you're a team that either underachieves or just frankly isn't very good, why are you making it so much more difficult on your loyal fan base to get to games and support your team? It just doesn't add up to me.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Reminder, Nick Mangold jersey is the giveaway today. Also a reminder, we secured our top prize. It's a signed football by the great Nick Mangold in our raffle 47 next Tuesday. Signed Wayne Corbett football and a signed Justin Fields jersey are your top prizes. If you have a comment that you want Matt or I to address or a question, super chat it in. It will cut the line and go first. I mentioned it before. We're presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Matt, here's a bet you can make on FanDuel right now. Jets regular season wins, where they finish, over 2.5 is minus 430. So the odds makers have the Jets winning at least 3 games because minus 430 is no joke. Under 2.5 is plus 340. For those who don't know what that means if you bet $100 on the Jets to win less than 3 games, that's under 2.5, you would pay out $340 if that happens. Over 3.5 is the favorite here as far as the amount of wins. That is minus 135. So the odds have the Jets winning at least 4 games, according to FanDuel. Under 3.5 wins is plus 115. Over 4.5 wins is plus 190. And under 4.5 wins is minus 230. So if you look at under 4.5 and over 3.5, right now, the odds makers have the Jets in all likelihood finishing with 4 wins. Matt, if you were a betting man, which bet would you place on FanDuel?
Oh, see, I was telling you before we hopped on the air here, I think the number is 3 or 4 for this team. So I'm right on the fringe of that 3.5. I might consider the under at 3.5 wins at plus money, just because I don't want to lay the 135 and hope that they end up on the positive side of that. So if I'm betting on it, I think the best value would be the under 3.5 at plus 115, and you just hope they get to 3 wins.
I think they are probably going to finish between 3 and 4. So if I'm making a bet here, I probably would lean with what you're doing, just from a value standpoint, right? Under 3.5. If you finish at 3, then all of a sudden you're actually making money. Although over 3.5 minus 135 is not, it's not crazy. No. If you wanted to go with that one too. It's not that juice. So interesting to look at what it is. Because, I mean, realistically, the Jets won a game Sunday that no one thought they were going to win, but they also should have more than one win right now. So that's why I think as we transition to talking about the Browns game, Jets are a favorite in this game. They opened up and they look ahead line on FanDuel as a minus 1.5 point favorite here. I think this is a big game, not because I think the Jets are going to go on this great run and finish 10-7 and make the playoffs, but you're coming off a win. You have 2 weeks to prepare. You're going to get Sauce and Garrett back. You're playing a Browns team that's 2-6. You have the advantage seemingly from a roster standpoint. You could argue you have an advantage at quarterback. It feels like to me, this is a big game because it's another litmus test for this coaching staff, how they come out and how they handle expectations of winning and handle time to prepare and handle coming off that first win if, they're going to still be locked in, ready to go coming out of the bye week.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I know it seems nuts, like a 1-7 team going up against a 2-6 team and calling it such a big game. But I think one of the biggest reasons why I can't be on Team Tank in October is because there's still so many games left. And to me, so many more tests for this coaching staff. I think, going into this year, I was looking at it as an evaluation year. And one of the things that I'm evaluating is, can this coaching staff get better? They got their first win. You're playing against a team at home that has a putrid offense. You have 2 weeks to prepare. I know Cleveland also has the 2 weeks to prepare, but you're a favorite at home. Can you just take care of business? That's a game that you should take care of business in. And, not for nothing, but Robert Saleh, that team was always horrible out of the bye. It would be, passing a test to me if they were able to come out of the bye and win a game that they're supposed to. And if they don't do that and they lose to a Cleveland team that isn't very good, I get it, their defense is awesome, but offensively they're worse than the Jets somehow, that would be a major red flag to me. So that's one of the big things I'm looking for over the remainder of this schedule is how many of these tests can this coaching staff pass?
I think that is completely fair. Let's get to some of your calls on the Gusbuster Umbrella hotline. Stay dry with Gusbuster Umbrellas. Use code Jake25 for 15% off plus free shipping on orders. $99 or greater. That's Jake25 for the year 2025 for 15% off. To your calls we go. Let's start it off with B Heights. Mr.
Whoa.
Heights, what do you got for us?
What's going on, Jake? We got to win, baby.
That's right. Finally.
We got to win, baby. Listen, man, I was scared about the 0-17, like legitimately. I really was. But listen, I just want to say I'm gonna need all of us to stop this Breece talk. The man can't go nowhere. And honestly, if we got to franchise him, we franchise him. If we don't extend him right now. But we just, in my opinion, if we want to play winning football, we can't do that without Breece. Especially with Allen, with Brandon being hurt. I mean, how many weeks does he have left in the IR?
That's an injury. Best case scenario, he's back in December.
I'm pretty sure Isaiah Davis could hold down the fort, until then. In my opinion, he's a really good running. We got a good running back room, with those three. But we just can't afford to let Breece go at this point. And honestly, I think into the future neither. I think that in order for us to play winning football, we need Breece. I feel like our O-line starting to gel. And bringing some solid wide receiver 2 or a solid wide receiver 2 or a solid wide receiver 3, and I think our offense is gonna start rolling eventually. When it comes to the defense, I understand that we probably want to attain some value for Quincy, but at the same time, when Quincy's at his best, the man plays like his hair's on fire, and we need that on the defense. I don't think we should let him go neither, but I think when it comes to the trade talks at this point, Quincy probably makes the most sense, but I wouldn't want to get rid of him neither.
Look, I think the problem with Quincy is B Heights is that he's a free agent at the end of the year, and they already paid Jamie and Sherwood. So Quincy will be 30. Are they going to invest another 2 to 3 year extension and another linebacker? I'd be surprised. I just think they kind of made their decision on Quincy when they paid Sherwood.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am. I like Quincy Williams. I think he's a good player, but I just don't know if the Jets are going to pay 2 linebackers $12+ million a year from a roster building perspective. So it depends on what you're offered in a trade, obviously. And maybe they're just in a spot where they, let's play it out the rest of the year. We'll keep him. And then, he could walk in free agency and maybe play into our comp pick formula. That's another way to approach this. But I would just be very surprised if they signed him at the end of the year, considering that they already paid Jamie and Sherwood.
Ryan McCarthy has gifted a channel membership.
Abracadabra.
McCarthy, Ryan. Appreciate you, Ryan. You're in the Nick Mangold jersey raffle at the end of today's stream for one. Let me get to a couple quick super chats here, that we will get right back to your calls. This one is from Bo, our guy Bo C, who's been a channel member for a year and is using his free super chat you get every month when you're a channel member. I'm fully aware that we look like hot garbage until this week, but if we view the players we get back from injury in the draft, could be something. Look, I think the Jets have a chance to be a lot better in the second half than they were in the first half, because I think a lot of their issues were coaching related, especially from the head coach who's learning on the job and looked kind of overwhelmed for a lot of the first half of games. If he improves, I think the team is in a position where they have a better chance to win some of these games, because I put the London loss, for example, solely on the head coach for how that game was mismanaged. So if we give Aaron Glenn the benefit of the doubt that he's learning and is going to be improved down the stretch here, that could equate to another win or two.
Yeah, and that was one of the big signs for me in this game. I think Aaron Glenn coached a really good game, and that doesn't erase the first 7, right? Like, he wasn't good enough in the first 7. I think everyone will admit that. But to me, the game really changed against Cincinnati when they decided to go for 2, down 8, and they put them in a position to win the game like they did, 39-38. I thought that was, a forward-thinking move. That's the analytical decision. And I think Glenn's been very conservative and maybe going against the new age analytical thinking through the early parts of the year. And if he's showing signs of changing and the decisions that he's making is working and they start to click, that's a good sign. I know, there's fans who want to lose out, get the number 1 pick and, get the top quarterback. But with Aaron Glenn likely coming back next year, you also want to feel good about this coaching staff going into 2026.
And the Jets are going to be in position, regardless where they're picking, to get one of these quarterbacks. They can move up. They could just let someone come to them. They could obviously, just stick and pick. I mean, Giants won too many games. Well, they traded back into round 1 and got themselves Jackson Dare. We don't even know who's coming out, how the quarterback carousel is going to spin. I'm not worried in October about where they're picking, because the reality is I don't think the New York Jets are about to, go on this run, Matt, where they're finishing with 7 or 8 wins, right? I think this is a team that in all likelihood is going to be picking in the top 5. It's just a matter of, are they at 5 or are they at 1? Until this past game, a lot of us thought, holy crap, this might be the worst team we've ever seen, and they're going to be sitting there with the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to end up being the case. And look, like, they won a game. They dropped from all the way from the number 1 pick to the number 2 pick. So they didn't really drop too far in the standings here. And I know New Orleans quarterback situation isn't all that great, but there's still a lot of games left to go. When we get to December, I think we'll have a better idea how the draft order is going to shake out. But, let's give this some time and see if this coaching staff can pass any of their tests on the schedule here.
You mentioned the Saints. I don't know how many people have paid attention to the New Orleans Saints this year, but you mentioned the quarterback change. They're going to be giving Tyler Shuck an opportunity. Jet fans root for Tyler Shuck to play well because, one, that helps the Saints win games, which helps the Jets in the Tankathon standings. But two, if he plays well and they actually think they might have their guy, right? They used a 2nd-round pick on him, so it wasn't like it was a nothing pick. Like, it's not like this is, a 6th-round pick they're just trying out at the end of the year. If Shuck plays well for them, maybe they don't draft a quarterback. And we know Tennessee is not going to draft a quarterback either. So the more teams that don't need a quarterback, right? The Giants don't need a quarterback. The Ravens don't need a quarterback. The more teams that are around where the Jets are picking that don't need QBs, that helps. And by the way, the Saints schedule down the stretch, they play a lot of awful teams. They're going to win a couple of these games, including that game against the Jets on the 21st in week 16 of December. That game is very winnable for both teams, but look at their schedule. They have Carolina. We saw them up close. Atlanta's not very good. Miami's terrible. Tampa's, they're not going to win that. But another game with Carolina, the Jets, another game with the Titans there, at Atlanta. Like, there's games that New Orleans should be able to win here. Like the Jets, even if they win a couple games, it doesn't mean, oh my God, they're going to be knocked out of the top 3.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really good call out too. And like, they get Atlanta twice, they get Carolina twice, they have the Jets, they have Tennessee, they have Miami. We'll see how Tyler Shuck looks, as he is going to take over as the starter. But on top of that too, like, these teams they play each other. The Jets play the Saints. The Saints play not only the Jets, but also Tennessee. So there's going to be a lot of movement. Again, we're still so far out from the actual end here. Let's just see how this plays out.
Right. People need to not freak out. We will be okay. Comments, questions, super chats. Let me get to a couple membership shout outs here. We got this one from Dante. He gifted 5 for the community. Let's go, Dante. He's in for 5. We got another 5 spot here. Brozanski has gifted 5 channel memberships.
Who want to fly with them?
Love it. Frozanski in the raffle for a Nick Mangold jersey coming up for 5. Jack with a super chat. I want wins down the stretch here. Tanking doesn't work. Establish a winning culture like the 2021 through 2022 Lions. I agree, but it's not even just the Lions. Like, some of the best teams in the league got their quarterbacks, and they were coming off either a playoff season or they were a franchise that had a history of winning. Like, you look at the Bills, they ended the longest playoff drought in the NFL, 17 years. And you know what they did? They said, thank you, Tyrod, but we're trading up and we're going to get ourselves our long-term answer in Josh Allen. Alex Smith was a nice quarterback for Andy Reid and the Chiefs. But you know what Andy Reid did? He made the move to go get Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson was the last pick of the first round. The Ravens traded back up to take him, and they still had Joe Flacco at the time. So there's multiple avenues to getting your quarterback. It doesn't just require you to be picking number 1 or number 2 to get that guy.
Yeah, and it's not always the number 1 quarterback that's the best in the class. Sometimes it is, right? Like Joe Burrow or Peyton Manning, or there's plenty of examples where the number 1 guy is the best quarterback, but there's equally as many as you mentioned the Lamar draft. He was quarterback 5. Josh Allen was quarterback 3. Jackson Dart, the Giants traded up for him. Dart looks significantly better than Cam Ward right now. We'll see how that plays out. Ask any Bears fans how they would feel about Jaden Daniels or Drake May over Caleb Williams right now. Just because you don't have the number 1 pick doesn't mean that you can't find an answer.
This chart has been making the rounds on Twitter, and it's a perfect encapsulation of what we're talking about. In red, you could see the first quarterback drafted and then who ended up being the best quarterback. Even some of the years where the first quarterback drafted, which is in black, ended up being the best quarterback. Guess what? Trevor Lawrence was by default, and he hasn't even been that great overall. Kyler Murray, kind of by default, he's been fine. He's had moments. Daniel Jones, by the way, might have something to do with that 2019 narrative, the way he's playing this year. We'll see how that ages. Jameis Winston, he didn't pan out. So you look at the recent history here, it has not been great. It really hasn't been for the top QB drafted. So people got to relax with where the Jets are picking, and it needs to be more about putting that quarterback in the best possible situation to have success, because this came up on my time hop the other day, Matt. And, you look back on it and this is how I think a lot of us felt when we watched Sam Darnold. I did a radio spot or I did a podcast interview 5 years ago, and they made this graphic from it. And I said during the interview, when they were asking me about the Jets, if Sam Darnold had better players and better coaching around him, he'd be a top 10 franchise quarterback. This was in the middle of that awful 2020 season when the Jets were god-awful roster-wise. Gase was the coach. And I think we all really liked Sam, at the end of his rookie year playing well. And then, they gave him nothing to work with over the next 2 years, and they failed him. And it took a little bit for Sam to go to the right place where he could develop and learn. But now he's clearly one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league for the second straight year. So, sometimes it's not who you pick, it's where you pick them, and then the infrastructure that's put around them to give them a chance to have any sort of success.
Which brings me back to the retaining Breece Hall take that I had earlier, right? If you want to put your young quarterback in a position to be successful, keep the strong running back room. Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, they're on their rookie deals. They'll still be here next year, but you keep Breece Hall, you feel good about that running back room. You have Mason Taylor, you have Garrett Wilson. If you add a couple more receivers, and with the offensive line that you have, if you keep that mostly intact, that's the best spot any Jets rookie quarterback has walked into. It's better than what Zach Wilson had. It's better than what Sam Darnold had. Maybe you could argue that, Sanchez had, the running game and the offensive line, but I think Garrett's a better receiver than anyone on those teams. So, it's really coaching and roster plays a very big factor in this too.
JJ says, am I crazy to think Mike McDaniel's a good coach? Back-to-back playoffs with Tua. Injury ruined his team. Aaron Glenn, worst coach in the division. Cleveland is a must-win. I think Cleveland is a huge litmus test for Glenn and this coaching staff. I think with McDaniel, the injuries definitely played a role. I also think, he just hasn't done a great job, like overall, like maintaining like the culture. It feels like they kind of walk all over him. They don't like, it feels like his act only works if they're winning. And the second there's some adversity, like he doesn't have the buy-in from the team because they don't necessarily like respect him as like this football guy. He's kind of like this cartoon character. It's like the perception I see of like who McDaniel is.
Yeah, I think he's a great offensive coordinator, and I think he's going to be an OC somewhere next year and have success in that role. I think he's a good offensive coach. I have some questions about him as a head coach because of how things have gone the last couple of years, but injuries definitely did play a factor in it, but he got a lot out of Tua too. Like that has to be a part of the equation here for him as an offensive mind. I just don't know if he's a good head coach or not.
100%. This comment's from Amanda Madison, who says influencer Jake and his Lululemon Fanatics Jets sweatshirt. That's right. I am an influencer. Big thank you to Fanatics for sending me their brand new fitted Lululemon Jets collection. Matt got the hookup as well. This came in the mail for us yesterday. Super comfortable. So you could get it on the Fanatics website. They have a whole line for every NFL team. The sweatshirt here, as soft as you could imagine here, right? As soft as a baby's skin, Matt O'Leary.
Yeah, and I like the stitching on the sweatshirt too. It's very, very highly produced. I love it. I was wearing it before my first video. It got a little warm in my room, so I tossed it off. But 10 out of 10. I love it.
Big fan. So shout out to Fanatics. We've done some work with Fanatics on the show. They've sponsored some of our post-game giveaways, and they were nice enough to send us their brand new Lululemon-inspired Jets sweatshirt, and they have it for every NFL team. So if anyone out there wants to look into it, you can just type in Lululemon Jets on Google or just go to fanatics.com, and you'll see all the information there. Let's get back to your calls right now. Gus Buster Umbrella Hotline is where we head, and let's say hello right now to this guy.
Well, I need to find Matt O'Leary. He's supposed to come on my show. I want his butt on a stick.
Wasn't that about a year ago, Matt?
Yeah, we have long ago squashed the beef, Bobby.
Yeah, squashed the beef. Jake's a funny guy. Thank you, Jake, for having me on. No, I appreciate that. I can't wait till you. When is your big day next month?
It's coming up quick, November 22nd, just a few weeks away.
Holy cow, that's interesting. Very good. Congratulations on the marriage.
Thank you, Bobby.
And next week, I gotta have surgery on my big left toe. Take out a bone.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, it's like my toe goes this way because I broke it.
Okay.
But the doctor who I first saw said, "Oh, you can't do anything about it." So that bone is like getting really rotted. So
Matt, did you think when you agreed to come on the show today that you'd be hearing about Bobby Midnight's toe?
Well, I didn't, but you could always expect the unexpected on the Jake Asman show.
Yeah, the Jets are 1-7. They're on their bye week, so let's have a little fun with my toe.
I don't know if I'm having fun though.
Yesterday you brought up the other stuff. I did not bring the other stuff up.
Yeah, the fact that you had live maggots living in your toe.
Oh yes, I know. I don't know. One got in there, and then it was nasty. It was bad. The lady Erin, poor Erin, in the wound clinic. I felt bad. I know. Ugh.
Disgusting.
I know. Like you. No, I love you, Jake. I love you.
Wow.
Hey, guess who I'm friends on Facebook now with? Your brother, Zach.
Fantastic. I'm glad that you guys are friends.
Okay, I'm still cheering for the Dodgers over the Toronto Blue Jays because I think they're gonna lose. I don't like Don Manley, that's why. Still don't like him. But the Knicks are gonna win this year, Jake. I have a feeling they're gonna have it this year.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. I always say they're gonna get rid of the coach, Thibodeau.
New Q says, would you let that toe touch your lips for a playoff spot next year? I think I would. As gross as that would be, and as I'd be worried about my health immediately after.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to touch my toe.
With or without the maggots? Without the maggots, I would say yes. With maggots, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, without the maggots. That was last year because I had a big open in my toe when I got in there.
Okay. My brother says, love being your friend, Bob.
Who?
My brother.
Yeah, you're a great guy. You, your dad, and Jake. Oh, I want to ask one more family member of you, Chloe. How's she doing?
She's doing well.
I always forget to ask you about Chloe. Chloe's so cute. I love Chloe. Tell
She
her I
asked
said
about you
hello.
the other day.
Oh, she did? Oh, that's good. What about your mom? Tell her I said hello, okay?
I will pass it along.
And tell your future wife I said hi. You know, she doesn't know me, but, you know, just say hi to her.
Oh, I will. Of course.
Okay, well, you guys have a great day.
You too, Bob. Good luck with the toe situation, all right? Keep us updated.
Yeah, next week. I don't know exactly what day, though. I'll keep you guys informed.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you for having me on.
You got
Well, you know I have my own YouTube show. If I'm awake, I'm going live. Unless Jake has a show, Bobby.
Thank you very much, Bobby Midnight. Everyone's dying to get updates on his toe. I know, Matt, your day is forever changed after learning about that.
I didn't know about the maggots. That's tough. Bobby, I hope you're doing better, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button. Quick reminder that we are going to give away a Nick Mangold throwback Jets jersey at the end of the show. We're a little light on membership, so I'm going to gift one right now. If you want a chance at getting one, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure that you are hitting the like button. Engage with the show. The algorithm for YouTube randomly assigns memberships, but it rewards people who are watching the longest and interact the most. That's how it gets determined. So I'm gifting one right now. If you get it, I'm putting you in our weekly raffle, and I'm putting you in the Mangold jersey raffle coming up. In the meantime, though, holy crap, as I was talking about being light on memberships, Matt L said, oh, yeah, watch this. A 20 spot of channel memberships from Matt L.
Get your ass off my super chats. Some of these are gifted memberships too.
Hey.
The hell with it.
Hey now. This is what dreams are made of. 20 gifted memberships. Matt L. The following 20 listeners are now channel members. Brian Kelly, DM95. Jem Y, David Toast, Mark Riss, Jesus Jerry Vaca, Daryl Osborne, Bobby Midnight's Toe, Austin Samsa, Alan has gonorrhea, EJ, DJ Jibs, Chad Capadona, Brian Farrow, Rourke's Drift, JB, 44, M. Morris, Ryder and Talen's PA, Keith Kirkwood, and Jem Y, all receiving a channel membership just like that. Hit it, B.
Abracadabra.
Beautiful. Thank you to Matt L. Unbelievable gesture. Matt, your Walt Clyde Frazier signed jersey that you won on Tuesday has been sent out to you, so you should be receiving it in the coming days. I want to now play something that Jason Kelsey said on his podcast with Travis Kelsey about Nick Mangold, because I think we as Jet fans and anyone who, you know, has a show like Matt and I do, we're going to do everything in our power to advocate for Nick Mangold to be selected for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because one, he deserves it, and two, it'd be amazing for his family, you know, to get the opportunity for Nick to be celebrated, you know, with that induction and everything that comes with it. But this was on the latest New Heights podcast yesterday. Kelsey, of course, played the center position. He's a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. This was the great Jason Kelsey talking about Nick Mangold.
It's been talked about Nick Mangold passing. He's been struggling with the genetic disorder and needed a new kidney. And you want to talk about one of the stalwart, like, best offensive linemen to ever play the game.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people come up and tell me, like, you're the best center to ever play. Like, I get that from other people. And it's hard to receive that because I know in my heart that Nick Mangold at his best was 10 times a player than I ever was. Like, I could never be that dominant at the center position. Nick was phenomenal. He was unbelievable in pass protection. He was an unbelievably smart leader and getting those guys on the same page. And he would murder people in the run game. He was unbelievable when he was in the NFL. He was unbelievable at Ohio State.
Yeah, he was.
It's just a travesty that's happened at such a young age. He's got a whole family. Like, when you think about offensive linemen over the past 2 decades, like the best of the best, you don't look any further than Nick Mangold.
Respect to Jason Kelsey for saying that. And I think Kelsey's a Hall of Famer. And if he's saying that about Nick Mangold's a Hall of Famer too, Matt.
I agree with you. And, you know, it's been a tough week with the Nick Mangold news that came as a big surprise on Sunday before the game when that, you know, broke. But for Mangold too, when he was drafted by the Jets, think about the pressure that he felt. Number one, had to replace Kevin Y, another Hall of Fame center, and did so incredibly well. But the Jets drafted him with a pick that they got because they traded John Abraham. So it was kind of like the double pressure. All right, you have to perform because we traded John Abraham for you, but also good luck. You're replacing one of the best centers to ever play. And he was phenomenal in every sense of the word. He's going to be missed greatly.
Yeah, it just still doesn't feel real, man, honestly. But, Nick Mangold is, in the process right now to potentially be a Hall of Famer. They're still in the process where they, narrow down, a large list of eligible candidates and, eventually they come up with the class. But I think he's going to get in. I think it'd be great if he got in, immediately after this news because he deserves it, man. I mean, anyone who watched Nick Mangold, what hurts Nick Mangold are things that he had no control over, right? Never won a Super Bowl, didn't have, a ton of playoff runs outside of the 2 years that they had the 09 and 10 runs. They went to the playoffs as well with Mangold his rookie season in 2006, but that's it. There was only 3 total playoff appearances in Mangold's career with the Jets in the playoffs. So that's what potentially would hurt him as far as being, a well-known, established, no doubt about it, Hall of Famer. But I mean, Kelsey's words there speak volumes. I remember a big reason why Joe Klecko finally got over the hump was a lot of the people who went up against Klecko, his peers, right? Anthony Munoz, I remember, came out and said Joe Klecko is 1,000% a Hall of Famer. When those guys come out and speak, it carries a lot of weight. And if Kelsey is coming out and saying what he's saying there, because I think everyone considers him a Hall of Famer at the center spot, I think that Nick Mangold is going to get in.
Yeah, I think so too. And, I think one of the nice things over the last few days is you've heard from so many people around the NFL, not just Jet fans, but so many people come out and say, positive stories with Nick Mangold. I think, he's someone who has a lasting legacy, and hopefully that's enough to get him over the top and get him in the Hall of Fame. Because you're right, he absolutely deserves it.
Matt, appreciate you hopping on as always. Anything you want people to know of what's coming on Matt O'Leary NY?
Yeah, I'd just like to shout out the fundraiser that I'm doing for the National Kidney Foundation.
Oh, dude, I completely forgot. I had it saved and ready to bring up, and for whatever reason, it completely slipped my mind. Please tell everyone about it. I've been plugging it on the show. I bought one of the shirts, and we've been promoting it on your website. But go ahead, Matt. That's totally my bad for not even mentioning this earlier.
No, all good. Yeah, we're selling some 74 Forever a Jet merch on my website, mattolearyny.com. The support has been absolutely amazing. So the latest update, we've raised just over $5,300 that we'll be able to send to the National Kidney Foundation. So really looking forward to sending in that donation when the payout comes from the site. But yeah, just wanted to do something for Mangold. He was such a lasting player for this team. One of my favorite Jets of all time. Grew up watching him, and if you haven't already, make sure to check it out and purchase an item. It's for a good cause.
I love it. What we'll do is too, let's add these to some raffles coming up here. We'll make this part of our daily raffle here. We'll buy a shirt right from Matt's website with the proceeds going to the National Kidney Foundation. So great job with this, Matt. It's been great to see the Jet fan base, as we knew they would, rally around this. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jets fan base is the absolute best, and hopefully now some wins start to come with it. We deserve it.
Oh, that would be awesome. Matt O'Leary, check it out on YouTube, Matt O'Leary NY. Again, get your hoodies, get your shirts. There's hats, mattolearyny.com for all the information there. Matt, appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jake.
Matt O'Leary with us there. Great job by him. Awesome to see the fan base do what they do best. Support one of our own. Ricky NY in the house. He is gifted a channel membership. Hit the Jet chant. Super chats, cut the line. Let's get to more of your calls. Jordan, you're gone, Jordan. Call back in. I was about to go to you. Let's continue with your calls. Tommy's next.
Jake, what's up, my brother?
What's up, Tommy?
How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. A little rainy outside, so weather's not great, but the show goes on. What's up with your audio, though, Tommy? It sounds terrible.
You can't hear me?
I hear you, but it's making a weird noise. Take the headphones off. Just use your phone.
I don't have headphones in.
It's a weird noise that's coming out of you.
It might be the ghost that's in my apartment. I hope there's no ghost here. Jake, hear me out real quick. I'll be quick. I wanted to ask Matt O'Leary, how long are those sweatshirts and T-shirts available? If they are, I'll send them to some on Instagram. But I hope they're available like at least till next week, 2 weeks.
I could find out for you. I'm assuming they're going to be there though for the next couple of weeks.
Okay. And Alan Hahn, what he said about Woody, oh my God, it's completely like spot on, dude. Like, give the job to your younger brother, Christopher. Let him run this team because you do not know how to speak in front of the public. You need to get somebody to learn how, you raise tickets when you're 0-7. Like, who in their right mind is gonna buy tickets? Then my second point was Jordan Travis. If he comes out and says this, and Aaron Rodgers already spoke about this, and now Justin Fields, you threw him under the bus as an owner. I mean, 1-1. Well, I don't know what it is, but like when you throw your quarterbacks under a bus as an owner, and you're a billionaire, that's the problem. You make so much money, you don't have somebody to put you in place and how to talk in front of the public, because it's embarrassing when you go to a fucking NFL meeting, okay, and you're wearing. You used to rock a Jets hat. Now you're rocking blue, and you got your soccer team. Like, go to London, dude. Go to London, have your soccer team, because you are not qualified to be a Jets owner. You're not qualified. Sick of it. I'm sick of it. It all starts from the top. If we do not have a good owner, okay, and you have, say, Christopher's good. He knows how to talk. You have a personnel person that knows to tell you how to talk in front of people. Just because you have $1 billion does not make you run a team. And if you get rid of Breece Hall, God bless the Jets, okay? Because you cannot just pick a running back out of the 3rd and 4th round draft, like people say. You just pick a running back at any time. That's not true. You can, but they're gonna come out to see like garbage. Like there's one Breece Hall, okay? Breece Hall. If I don't get a 2nd or 3rd round pick, you do not trade a franchise running back, okay? Running backs last 5 to 8 years, whatever it is. This guy is an Adrian Peterson. He can last in the league for 10 to 12 years. And if you get rid of him and you sign a quarterback next year, like a rookie, and you get rid of all our pieces, we have nothing to back our quarterback in. You keep our milestones. You keep Breece Hall. You keep JJ. You keep, even if I understand, you definitely keep Sauce. Quincy, I mean, I get it. You can't sign 2 linebackers for $10-15 million a year. I get it. But I mean, they messed up on that decision too. So we're look, don't trade away our pieces. Keep our structure here for the next quarterback that has to get developed. And stay strong and don't give up. If you trade away Breece, you're basically saying the year's over. If you trade away JJ, the year's over. You're just saying we're going to lose out. I don't want to have that lose out season, Jake. I want to win.
I agree. I think there has to be a price that is so extreme if you're going to deal Breece. I just don't think that exists. I think it's honestly, I believe if they were going to trade Breece Hall, it would have happened by now. So I think he's going to be here, right? I think if we get to the end of today and he's not traded, I think he's here. Teams are now focused on their upcoming games. I don't know, maybe there's a big injury to a running back, a team would get desperate and call the Jets. So I guess there's always that chance that before Tuesday, something like that happens. But I don't think they're going to have this big fire sale. I think with Breece, they should be working on trying to keep him. You have the franchise tag. It's a worst case scenario, too. They're not going to trade away Jermaine. They're not going to do Quinnen now. I'd be surprised. Quinnen would really surprise me if they did it now. Ryan says, Christopher hired Gase, so not sure he's a qualified owner. I think in the case of Gase, obviously disaster hire, but his intentions were at least legitimate. And what I mean by that is this. Their plan was to hire a coach who they thought could take Sam Darnold to the next level. Offensive guy who got the endorsement of Peyton Manning. They got conned. At least, like, the intention of hiring Gase, it didn't work. It should have been Mike McCarthy, who they interviewed. But at least for, like, a Christopher Johnson, defense, at least their intention was to build around the quarterback and give him a chance at success. That was my whole argument with if the Jets finish with the worst record in the league, 1 win, and they're picking first in the draft. Like, why would you retain Glenn and this staff when they've proven they can't coach? This team shouldn't be this bad. They shouldn't be picking number 1 overall. That's been my argument. Like, you got to hire a legitimate offensive coach for your quarterback. Hopefully the Jets win games where they're not this inept. And what we saw last Sunday is more what we see going forward, where they're competitive and they're winning games. But at least Chris hired an offensive guy for Darnold. Like, that's all I could say. And he's a good public speaker. He's a good front face for the organization. Jordan, if you continue to call in and then leave before I'm going to go to you, I can't bring you on the show. You guys can't see this. I'm the only one who can, but he keeps joining and then leaving, joining and then leaving. Jordan, stay. Now twice I'm about to go to the man, and he's not there. Ladies and gentlemen, he called back in. I'm throwing him on quick. Jordan, don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. Every time you bring somebody on and take them off, you go muted, and I can't hear nothing you say.
Oh, well, I don't know why that's happening, but I'm glad we got you on.
Yeah, thanks, dude. I appreciate it. The one thing I just wanted to say was that I'm concerned about the Jets coming off the bye week because they usually don't do too great off bye weeks. And I wanted to know how you feel about the coaching staff after these last few weeks with signs of improvement, but it's still not perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect, but just wanted to see how you feel about the coaching staff now. And if I was thinking last night, like, if this team wins 3 games, like, how are you going to feel at the end of the season?
Yeah, I guess I got to see, like, who the wins are against. Like, is it the Saints and the Bills the last week of the year and they finished with 3? Like, I wouldn't feel good at all. Is it, 3 wins, but they're in every game? Glenn doesn't have any games that look like London all over again or Carolina. I don't know. I think it's really tough when we just talk about wins because, like, not all wins are created equal. I think there's context to them. So it's tough. I mean, from a coaching standpoint, they won. So you get credit when you win 100%. I thought Glenn did a great job keeping the team together this week after Woody's comments. Fields playing the way he did. Give credit to Engstrand there. I thought he called a really good game. We highlighted some of the creative play calling the last few days.
Right.
The defense being bad, though, like, I think there was an outlier performance in London. It's London. It's weird. Denver kind of sleptwalked through that game. Carolina's not very good. You did nothing against them. Now let's see what they do defensively against the Browns, who shouldn't be very good. Like, you shouldn't allow Cleveland to light you up. We need to see a lot more from Wilkes and this defense here. We need to see a lot more in general from the staff. The one coach I'll highlight that I think is doing a really good job, Steve Hyden, the O-line coach. I think the offensive line's been a strength for this team. Also, I think Chris Banjo's done a pretty good job as the special teams coordinator. Special teams is way improved from where it was a year ago. And, some of the issues they had were just like the craziness of some of these turnovers. But, the kicking game has been really good. Give them credit for McNamara as a punter. They've covered kicks and punts way better than they did a year ago. So there are some positives from a coaching standpoint. There's just not enough at this point. We need to see a lot more.
I agree with those points, Jake. I think that because we're facing the Browns, who have a really good D line, like the Steelers did, I think we need to go back to that week 1 game plan. Whatever Tanner did week 1 is, I feel like, the game plan he needs to do for Myles Garrett and them, because that's what worked, and that was Justin's best game. So, hopefully they could just keep, steady climbing the ladder here and showing more and more improvement each week and get some W's up there.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I just feel like we got to see a lot more. Look, if you look at the season in halves, they've completed the first half. Now
Yeah.
let's see what they look like. The last 9 games, second half of the year, where the improvement is.
Yeah. How do you feel about the trade last night?
I like it. I'll miss Michael Carter. I wish him well. He was a really good Jet. Just unfortunately, the writing was on the wall. He wasn't going to be here next year. His play had slipped. He's been banged up with injuries now. He doesn't necessarily fit the type of player they want at corner. And the Brownlee move has been great. Give Glenn and Muji credit for that because he's been awesome. And he took MC's job. So, I wish him well. He was a really good Jet. Good day 3 pick that Joe Douglas hit on and this previous staff developed. But it just made sense to move him because you knew he wasn't going to be here next year.
Yeah, totally agree. I like MC too, but Jarvis is just better right now, and he fits the scheme better, and he's doing a good job. I like him. He brings that tenacity that we need on the defensive and the back end. Who's
Totally
going to play
agree.
safety though? Oh yeah, Tony Adams. Never mind.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a combination now with Tony Adams getting back in the starting lineup, and they'll continue to have Malachi Moore be a part of it. We'll see Isaiah Oliver probably have to play a lot more safety now. One thing they could do, and I suggested this yesterday with Carter, who they now traded, they could potentially try Stevens if they wanted to at safety where he's played before, if they want to keep AZ Thomas in the starting lineup with Sauce coming back. I don't know if they would because Stevens is playing really well, but that's another option as well if they want to maybe have some packages where he slides over to safety and AZ Thomas gets on the field that way.
Yeah, I would like that. I think that would be pretty good because AZ Thomas, he's looking pretty good too as well. He gives up some plays here and there, but he's a rookie, man. It's gonna happen, and he's looking pretty good in coverage though. Like it's not like he's far off. But also, is Garrett coming back this week?
Is Garrett coming back this week? I think he probably will. There's no word on that though. He didn't practice when they did their final practice before players got off for the bye on Tuesday. He wasn't out there. So Sauce will be back. Garrett, I think, will too, but that's not official yet.
Yeah. Okay. I was just wondering if you knew or not.
Yes, sir.
That's all I had today, though, dude.
Jordan, great call, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, dude.
Jordan checking in. Hey, look who it is. Mimosa in the house. I saw that she just bought a shirt from Matt O'Leary's website supporting, the Nick Mangold fundraiser that Matt is doing. Mimosa gifting a 10 spot for the people.
Thank you, Mimosa, for your generosity and tremendous support of the Jake Asman Show.
Who better than Mimosa coming through for the people? Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. We got open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the conversation. Mimosa just gave herself a chance to win a Nick Mangold jersey, which she already won. So Mimosa, if you win, we will get you a different Jet jersey instead, unless you want a second Nick Mangold jersey. That's your choice. We also have our top 3 prizes this week: a signed Fields jersey, signed Wayne Corbett football, and a signed Nick Mangold football among our top prizes. Comments, questions, super chats. You know the drill. They cut the line. Again, open phone lines for those of you who want to call in. If you call in and you're a first-time caller, you earn 2 raffle tickets, so not too shabby. I want to play you guys something that Brian Baldinger posted on his X account yesterday, paying homage to Nick Mangold. Here's a Baldy breakdown on the late, great Nick Mangold.
The NFL is a shared brotherhood, and we lose a great brother like Nick Mangold. It affects all of us, especially when it happens way too soon. You don't think that a guy that was this big and this strong and could do his job this easily week in, week out would ever leave us too soon. But he made everybody around us better. It's interesting. When you watch Nick play over 11 years, no matter where the play started, it seemed to always run right behind Nick Mangold. That's where it ended up. He was just that good at his job. That's why he went to 7 Pro Bowls in 11 years. That's why he was 2-time first-team All-Pro center. And, Ryan Fitzpatrick played in this league a long time. Never had a better year than he did right here, 2015, against Cleveland here, week 1. Nick grew up in Centerville, Ohio. Went to high school in Kettering, Ohio. About 3 hours away from Cleveland. Thought I'd open it up with this game because that's when you're in Ohio and you grow up a Browns fan. You just do. You play for the Jets, you give it everything you got. We lost a great one, man. Anybody that knew Nick Mangold, he made you feel like you were special. He made you better, even if you never knew anything about football. But his ability just to block 1, 2, sometimes 3 guys made life for the running backs and the quarterbacks just that much better. A lot of things you could say here. I mean, played 11 years in the league, had a total of 11 holding calls. Do the math, all right? The guy just was a technician. Like, look at this. He just moved people, big people out of the way. That was his job description. Off the field, just a gentle giant. Wore his flip-flops every day that he could. Just a regular person. Regular guy, was great at football. Like, not many people can just torque a big human being with one arm the way Nick could. He could just torque him with one arm and then just rip him and put him down. Like, Nick made this game look easy. He played hurt, often did, didn't matter, never said a word. Like, here he is. He made everybody better. He was the man in the middle. Nick Mangold, a heart of gold. And we're going to miss you, and it's way too soon. Thanks for everything, Nick. You were special.
Great tribute there from Brian Baldinger, who is as good as anyone breaking down film. J-Quest wants to know, what is the Jets' record for not having an interception to start the year? It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that, J-Quest, but I'm sure we're going to find out soon. So we got to be close. Think about how crazy it is for the Jets. They don't have an interception on defense, and their starting quarterback hasn't thrown a pick all year. Now, Tyrod has thrown picks when he has had to come in and play, but Justin Fields, the opening day starter, the guy who started most of the games for the Jets this year, right? They played 8 games. Fields has started 7 of them. He doesn't have an interception this year. Isn't that kind of crazy? Right? Like, that's wild. JD says the last meaningful interception had to have been the end of the game versus the Eagles at MetLife. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I mean, meaningful, like truly mattered. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything from 2024. They didn't have any big interceptions during the 2-1 start, so I don't know about that one. It's crazy how they don't have any interceptions this year. Like, they should have had one by AZ Thomas, but obviously, you know, he was out of bounds, then came back in. It's very frustrating. King Nige says, Jets fans' delusion over their overrated players that don't help them win anything is why I can't ever feel bad for Jet fans. When you say that, you just expose how stupid you are. Who's overrating anything? We know what good football players look like. No one's saying that these guys are great. We're saying we don't want to trade away Breece Hall for nothing, dumbass. Oh, that's why I don't feel bad for Jet fans. Well, I'll tell you what. You're a piece of crap. You're adopted. Your parents don't even like you. And I'm just going to do this. We don't need to talk to you. Goodbye.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Joke. Absolute joke. We shouldn't trade Jermaine Johnson for a 3rd-round pick. That's overrating our players? Or actually, I don't know, not wanting to just give away our players for nothing. Also, I love the people that talk trash about the Jets that aren't Jet fans. So you're spending your free time tuning into a Jet stream during the Jets bye week when they're at 1-7. PZ Western says, Jake, apologize for being a meanie. The only thing I will do is apologize for not seeing his comment quicker so I could have thrown him in the hole faster. That's it. To quote Conor McGregor, I apologize for absolutely nothing. Dave Brigga says, Mimosa calling. Dave Brigga, you calling. How we feeling about the Jets? Any optimism following the win? All right, last chance to get in here, though, because we don't currently have anyone on the line. I want to remind anyone who did just tune in, though, we are going to give away a Nick Mangold signed football for our top prize this week. So we locked that one in. So also a signed Wayne Corbett football and a signed Justin Fields jersey. Hit that like button if you haven't. Also, reminder for those of you that are unaware, the show is available as a podcast on Apple or Spotify. So just search Jake Asman Show and you will find it there. PZ Western says, Jake only reads my crash outs, LOL. This is what 1 and 7 does to a mother effer. I'll tell you what, 1 and 7 does a lot of things, but it still gives me the ability to do things like this.
How'd you like to play some football? Football. Yeah, would you like that? Report to the practice field tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock.
Remember the Jets' big trade deadline acquisition was signing Roger Saffold? Spencer Green in the raffle for 2. He says, hope you tailed my bet, Jake. Lakers money line, just showing love. Bet Lakers and whoever plays the Knicks, it's free money. Oh, shut up with the whoever plays the Knicks. Shut up, Spencer. But I appreciate your super chat. You're in for 2. Let's see. Joey says Brandon Eccles pick versus Levis last year. Did he have a pick in that game? I think he did, right? Yeah, you could say that was meaningful. That's fair. Jay Quest Sauce got a pick to ice the Jags game, but that game really didn't mean anything at that point. Like the Jets were going nowhere. I think I don't want to speak for JD Surf City, but I think he's referring to like the interception happened at a crucial moment when the Jets season was still like relevant. And they were relevant in that Eagles game. I got them to 3-3 going into the bye. They then beat the Giants out of the bye in a game they should have lost, but they stole, and they were 4-3. Dave Brigger wants to know, where is the ex-boxer? He's usually in the green room. I love how Dave never, ever refers to Gary by name. I think that's hilarious. The ex-boxer. Well played. Curly says, and then we went to Vegas and scored 4 field goals. Well, that was the Charger game on Monday night was before the Vegas game. Right? It went Giants. And then after the Giant win, didn't they play the Chargers on Monday night? They fell to 4-4. Then they went to Vegas, fell to 4-5. Then Zach finally got benched for Boyle in that awful beatdown the Bills gave him. Fell to 4-6. Then you had the Black Friday debacle. Fell to 4-7. The Jets spiral at that point was officially happening. I think that was the order of games from that miserable 2023 season that actually started off, despite losing Rodgers, with some hope because they were 4-3. But they just could not win with Wilson at quarterback. He just wasn't good enough. Joe the Jet says, call me crazy, but 2022 and 23 were fun years. 22 was fun. 23 was depressing because the whole year was a what if they had Aaron Rodgers, because the defense and special teams were more than good enough with a competent quarterback to go to the playoffs that year. They should have been a playoff team in 23. If Mike White didn't have all the broken ribs, they probably are a playoff team in 22 if he doesn't get hurt against the Bills, because they probably win the Lions and Jags game with better quarterback play. Who knows what happens in Seattle if Mike White's healthy for that one and not whatever version we got that day where they got killed. And I think they lost to the Dolphins like 9-6 in week 18 that year. The 2022 Jets should have been a playoff team. The injury killed them. Man. 25 says Gary retired from the Jake Asman Show. He now plays for the Addy Show. Yes, we will miss Gary. We will miss him. Or will we? J-Quest says Michael Carter should have had a meaningful interception against the Patriots. We were robbed. That's one of the biggest what-ifs. If the Jets win that game, their whole season's different that year. Right? The BS roughing call against JFM would have been 17-3 Jets. They win that game. Who knows what happens, right? Instead, they lose that game. That was kind of the beginning of the end for Zach. His confidence was officially shot after that. He threw 3 picks that game. Then they do beat the Bills after the bye, or going into the bye. I think they were 6-3. They lost the Patriot game, or the second Patriot game. That was truly the end for Zach. Mike White plays awesome, and they beat the Bears at home. I was there for that one with my dad in the rain. And then, obviously, he got hurt against the Bills a week later. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt L. with a big super chat. Hey, now. $50 spot from Matt. Hey, now. Hit it.
Get your ass off my super chats. Some of these are gifted memberships, too.
Hey.
The hell with it.
He says, Jake, I found in my 58 years since my first Jet game, Jet fans are some of the most passionate and knowledgeable anywhere in the market or league. My Uncle Vito wants referrals for anyone sent to the Hall or comes at you with BS. You're the man, Matt. I appreciate you. 58 years of being a Jet fan. You deserve a badge of honor for that. Appreciate you. It's an amazing fan base. I can't not say that enough. I mean, it's a fan base that gets very little for our investment in the team, and we hope one day it changes. That's it. But really appreciate it. Hopefully, I know you're a Knicks fan because you won the Clyde jersey and wanted it. Hopefully, your other teams have given you some happiness, because I know the Jets for a while have not given us very much of anything, which is just brutal. But that's the life we live, folks. We were born into this, a lot of us, just like that kid was. We didn't have a choice. We're stuck.
Really an absolute phenomenon.
I hate this team.
When you get this allegiance to a team,
I was born into this, and
it sticks with you.
I'm always a Jets fan, but
I'm thankful we have fans like this.
I hate this team.
That kid is all of us. We hate them because we love them. All right. Last chance here. I'm counting the raffle names. Again, I want to thank everyone for supporting the show. We are going to be back this afternoon. A little DT, Dylan Terriman, in his weekly spot. Kickoff for that show around 4:30. Black Gypsy says, I won't miss Gary. Gary's a big douche and condescending. Tough to argue with that. But I like Gary. I don't agree with most of his opinions on non-football topics, but Curly Norman. They say Curly's negative. I'll tell you what, he's here every day listening to a show all about the New York Jets. He is in the raffle for one. Thank you, Curly. I'm putting you down. I'm also putting our guy, Mr. Gypsy, in the raffle because he has gifted a channel membership as well. Thank you, Mr. Gypsy. Frozansky with a super chat. Love for the kid on the video. We all feel you. That kid is the most relatable Jet fan out there. We all know exactly what he's going through. All right. Today's closer is a legend who has just called in. Ladies and gentlemen, please stop what you're doing. Get close to your speakers and sing along.
He thinks that Charles and Bobby need to get a job. This cowboy hates to see us maniacs complain. What he call him, one punch bigger. You need to get a job. What he call him, one punch bigger. The beast is on his ass. Call him one punch bigger. Has anyone seen Bean Mac? Call him one punch bigger. He'll only need one.
Dave?
Jake, can you hear me?
I hear you, Dave. What's going on?
Oh, not too much. How you doing today?
Well, the weather's not great, but another day.
Well, we had a great fall. We can't complain, right? You have to have a few bad days. We're getting towards November.
That's right.
So. Yeah, I just wanted to call in, say hello to everybody. It's been good to get a good win last week, right?
Better than losing, given how the season has gone, for sure.
Hey, one win's better than none, right? That's all I could say. It's
Amen.
It feels good to have a win. But what can we do? Hey, just hope we can get some more going forward. I'm interested to see this upcoming the next, after the bye, to see the matchup of Myles Garrett versus Fashionable. I want to see how he's going to handle himself. So we have things to look forward to. We know one thing. We got our offensive line looks good for the futures. And I see, I always thought Tippmann would be better at guard. He's proving that out. So I mean, we have things to look forward to. We can't be all negative. We know the downside here. But just let's see what happens going forward. That's all we can hope for. At least we have hope. The week before, we didn't have much hope, but one win means a little hope. So let's build on it. Want everybody to be pumped up, pumped up as much as we can get. Too much negativity is no good. Too much negativity. We had too much. I mean, we need to have some hope. That's all. I mean, just one step at a time. One small step, right? Leads to big steps. So,
one small step for mankind. I believe a certain astronaut might have said that.
That's right. There's people of achievement, real people, people that actually existed, as opposed to what somebody thinks. They believe in falsehoods, but that's on them. That's not on us. So I just want to check in with all the guys. See if everybody's doing well. Just keep looking up. So. Have a good day, everyone. God bless.
Dave, you're the best. Hang in there, my friend.
He thinks that Gary needs more shots upside his head. This cowboy hates when you don't believe in achievement. Well, they call him one-punch Brigger. The moon landing was free. They call him one-punch Brigger. His claim is not true. They call him one-punch Brigger. Hated jokes is like inside his soul. One-punch Brigger. Does he know they need one? Yeah.
The great Dave Briga, Oregon Jet, says the head coach and quarterback are still the worst combo in the league. Don't confuse winning a game by 1 point for competency. AG still blows. Fields still sucks. We still need a legitimate head coach. Look, in all likelihood, our doubts on the head coach, and I think at this point we kind of know what Fields is. He's not the long-term answer. I think those are still legitimate, but at least we could point to a game they won, a winnable game coming out of the bye, and let's see how they look. Right? We're looking for reasons to buy back in and have belief that they got the right people in place. So you're probably right, Oregon. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I take back every criticism I've had of Glenn. He's awesome. Like, I still have real doubts, but they won a game and he gets credit for that. So let's see how they look after the bye. We're going to evaluate over the course of a 17-game season. The first 7 weeks, not good enough. Spencer Green checking in. Jake, go to FanDuel. Pick me a prop you like. Let's ride tonight's game. I have not looked for the game tonight, Spencer, but for the second show this afternoon, assuming you're tuned in, I'll give you something that we could ride together. It's Ravens at Dolphins tonight. Lamar is back. So the Ravens are a 7.5-point favorite over at FanDuel, even though the game is in Miami. And, Miami coming in off a win. They look great against Atlanta. What happened there? What the heck happened there, huh? Crazy. I'll be locked into that. We got Islander hockey later. I believe the Knicks are playing tonight as well. No, the Knicks are playing tomorrow. They're playing the Bulls tomorrow. So Knicks are off. So we'll be all over it. Also, I just realized I need to call out myself when I said that I'd give Spencer a pick that we could ride together. That could be misconstrued.
Calm your freaky down.
Hand up. I said it. I own it. That happened. Jake Brown in the house. Mr. Met. The Johnson family will never give up the Jets. They won't. What we could hope happen is that Aaron Glenn is so damn good at his job, we could overcome the ownership, but that remains to be seen. And we could hope that someone could get to Woody and say, go to London, man. hang out there, enjoy Crystal Palace, and let Christopher oversee the day-to-day, because at least Christopher has a pulse. He's in tune with what's going on. But that's where we are. New Q says Beast could go to the Knicks game in Chicago. We should look in the tickets to see how much it would cost to buy Beast a ticket to go to the game. I'd chip in for that. Now, Beast hasn't called in today. I don't know where he's at. Anyway, let's get to the raffle, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, your chance to win a Nick Mangold jersey right now.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Wheel of Champions. If your name is called, then you win a Nick Mangold jersey. You have to send me an email, though, asmanjake@gmail.com, with the information I need. Your name, your address, and your size, so I know where to send you the Mangold jersey. Again, good luck to everyone, but only one can win today. Only one can get her done. I just realized, though, there's a mistake on the wheel. Matt and Matt L are the same entries here. So if it comes up on either, that's for Matt L. I put in one as Matt and one as Matt L. So I want to get that on the record before we spin the wheel. Matt L and Matt are the same person. All right. Shuffle the names one last time. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of a Nick Mangold jersey is... Matt L. Matt, you're the man. You're the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the Jet chant for Matt L. Boom. Love it. Thank you to Matt. Thank you to everyone who participated. Thank you to Matt O'Leary, who was our guest for the first hour of the show. We're back with DT this afternoon. We'll have another giveaway. Again, if you want to support the Nick Mangold fundraiser for the National Kidney Foundation, check out Matt O'Leary's website and get yourself a shirt, a hoodie, a hat, mattolearyny.com. I already ordered my shirt. I got an email. It's being sent out, so I'm excited to rock it on the show next week. Again, you guys are the best. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who tunes in. We couldn't do it without you. I leave you guys with a blast from the past, if you will. Once upon a time, we didn't know who this guy was. And then he called in for the very first time, and history was made. Enjoy. Let's go to Lane, who's up next. Hello, Lane.
Hey. Oh, hi.
Hello, Lane.
How is everything? Yes?
You're on the air, Lane.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Lane.
Hi. So, yeah, I'm happy about the way the Jets played today. And, you know, they moved the ball and they did great. Look, okay. I mean, I know it was raining out. Did you see the game?
No, I didn't watch it. What happened?
Well, they won. And the other team lost.
Lane, thank you. Come on, man. It can't be a real call. Lane, call back anytime, man. The Jets won today, by the way, folks. I don't know if you guys saw the game.
On the 2022 draft pick, the pick goes to Knoble out of college. Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.